He almost ignored the scratch at the door. That would have been his biggest mistake. Theo was a 5-year-old yellow Labrador, the kind of dog whose reliability had become a family joke, predictable to the point of parody. A dog who operated on internal schedules so consistent that the family had stopped using a watch for certain things. He woke at 6:10. He waited at the door at 7:45. He finished his dinner at exactly the same rate every evening. So when he established his nighttime routine after the baby came home, nobody questioned it. From the first night Clem was in the bassinet, Theo was on the floor beside it every night, without instruction, without invitation, without fail. He would settle at 8 p.m. and stay until morning, not sleeping deeply. The family noticed, but resting in the specific way of an animal, keeping a light watch. They had Clem at 38 weeks, a healthy weight, no complications, a textbook birth. Clem slept the way newborns sleep, in fragments, with occasional intensity, in the bassinet they had set up in the master bedroom for the first weeks. The pediatrician had given them the standard information about safe sleep, firm surface, no loose bedding, back to sleep. They were the parents who had read everything. 43 days after Clem came home, Theo got up at 2:23 a.m. and left the bedroom. If you stay for stories about what animals sense before we do, you're in the right place. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Adriana woke to the scratch at the door. Not the bedroom door, the door Theo had just passed through. He had gone into the hallway and was scratching at the closed nursery door, the room they were preparing but not yet using. She lay still for 4 seconds, certain she was misunderstanding the sound. He scratched again. 4 times. Methodical, she got up. She opened the hallway door and looked at Theo. He looked at her, then turned and walked back to the bedroom and went to the bassinet. Adriana followed. She turned on the low light. Clem had turned during sleep, not onto her stomach, but onto her side, her face pressed against the padded bassinet liner, one small arm pinned beneath her airway, at an angle that was not immediately alarming to look at, but was, in the specific mechanics of an infant's airway, not right. Adriana repositioned her. Clem shifted, exhaled. Shh. She stood beside the bassinet and held her breath for a moment. Her husband, Patrick, had woken. He was sitting up in bed. He said, "What is it?" Clem was against the side. Adriana said, "Her face." Patrick was quiet. Theo had returned to his position on the floor beside the bassinet. He settled into his rest posture, chin on his paws, eyes half closed. The pediatric nurse they saw the following week was named Constance Brown. 17 years in infant and newborn care. Adriana described what Clem's position had been. Constance Brown explained the physiology carefully. Newborn airways are proportionally narrow. The structure's still cartilaginous and compressible. An infant, whose face is pressed against a firm padded surface, does not necessarily move immediately to distress. The change in airflow is gradual, building over time. Detectable first to an animal whose auditory and olfactory systems are calibrated far below human threshold, before it becomes visible to a sleeping adult. The change in breath sound was what he was responding to, Constance Brown said. He could hear a difference you couldn't. Has your dog ever done something that made no sense until it was the only thing that made sense? Tell us in the comments. These stories deserve to be heard. She looked at Adriana. The fact that he broke his pattern, that he left his position and went to you, that's significant. Animals who have established a routine around a charge don't break from it without reason. He was doing the one thing left available to him. Adriana thought about 43 nights of Theo on the floor, beside the bassinet, the light watching, the specific, not quite sleep of an animal at post. And then the one night, something was different. When he had gotten up and done something he had never done before, because whatever he was tracking had changed. He hadn't abandoned his post. He had escalated his response. They ordered a motion-sensing breathing monitoring attachment for the bassinet that week. They adjusted the liner padding. They began putting a rolled receiving blanket along the side. Theo continued, sleeping beside the bassinet every night. Every guardian deserves to be recognized, even the ones who never asked for anything in return. If stories like this matter to you, subscribe so you never miss the next one. Adriana lay awake for a while after the monitor adjustment, in the quiet of the bedroom, listening to Clem's breathing transmitted through the new unit. Theo was a warm shape in the low light beside the bassinet, eyes half open, doing exactly what he had been doing for 44 nights. She had never asked him to do any of it. He had simply decided on the night Clem came home that this was now his assignment, and for 44 nights he had kept it with the specific reliability that had always been his nature. Until the night keeping it meant doing something new. She closed her eyes. The monitor glowed green. Theo did not move. The next story is about a dog who had been with one family for 3 years before a toddler arrived. And the morning, everything between them changed. She thought about something Constance Brown had said at the follow-up appointment, something she had written down and kept. In the absence of distress signals that register above adult perception threshold, the animal in proximity is often the only early warning available. This is not mystical. It is acoustic and olfactory sensitivity operating in ranges we do not access. Not mystical. Acoustic and olfactory sensitivity in ranges we do not access. Adriana looked at the breathing monitor glowing on the dresser. She had read every review before purchasing it. She had chosen the highest-rated model, the most sensitive sensor, the unit with the fastest alert response time. And she had come home from the hospital visit and attached it to the bassinet with the specific urgency of someone correcting a gap. But the gap it was filling had already been filled. For 43 nights, by a Labrador who had asked no one's permission and required no calibration. She thought about what it cost to trust something that had not been engineered, that had no certification, no specification sheet, no customer review score, that communicated through the only channels available to it. A change in behavior, a broken pattern, a scratch on a door at 2:23 a.m., and required of the person receiving the communication only the willingness to take it seriously. She had taken it seriously. She had gotten up. She had followed him back to the bedroom and turned on the light. That was all it had required. That was the entire thing. Patrick came to stand beside her. He looked at Theo on the floor and at the monitor glowing green. He said, "He's not going anywhere, is he?" "No," Adriana said. "He's not." Theo didn't move. He breathed in the steady way of an animal that has returned to its post and found everything as it should be.